What's going on? I'm excited to be here today and back online. If you didn't know, I was having some significant issues, but I've got a couple of interviews left here, and today I'm excited to have Denise Mays with us from Play to Win Season 2. And guys, let me just say something right off the rip. This girl is an overcomer. She has had to overcome some obstacles, and I'm here to tell you that if you listen to her story, it should encourage you to overcome issues in your own life. And Denise, I'm so excited to have you on. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I am doing great today.
Good. So I want to introduce you to my crowd because I was talking about that you've overcome so much. And I only got to hear a piece of it on the show. Could you share with us some of the struggles that you've had and how that we've even had to reschedule this because of some of these issues, and explain what it is and what it means? Because I know a little bit, and it gives me a lot more respect for you hearing what you've had to go through and then watching you on the show.
Sure. Okay, so first of all, I am a single mom of 2 adult daughters, and I've got 2 beautiful grandsons, and I'm here in hot as hell, California. It is baking. And I am a survivor of domestic violence. And so my health challenges actually started after I was a single mom, was stalked. I had a lot of issues with my ex-husbands and so forth. And I developed lupus at the age of 30. And I just suddenly couldn't walk. Like I just couldn't walk. And I had just come back from Holland, where my grandmother was passing away. I had just come back from Holland. My grandmother was ill and passed away, and I couldn't walk. So I was diagnosed with lupus, and I battled. It took a long time to get the right medical care. And once I got it stabilized, I went to nursing school because I was going to become a nurse, a registered nurse. So I went to nursing school. I had really great support systems with family, with my kids. But as a single mom, it wasn't cutting it financially, so I needed a second income. So I went to nursing school, and I completed nursing school and became a pediatric bone marrow transplant nurse. And wow. It took me 10 years to get there because I had to do things a little bit differently because I did work full time. And I got there and worked that job and my current full-time job at the same time, trying to phase one out, but it wasn't really working out as phasing out. So I did both of them. And I had a mild stroke 2 years in, and went back to work to the hospital. And 6 months later, I could not walk again. And I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And it took probably 18 months for them to manage my care. And so I lost my nursing job, the job that I had worked tirelessly to get to. The good news is, working 2 full-time jobs, I was able to purchase my own home, which was an amazing accomplishment that I was super proud of. That at least I was trying to look at the good in it. I lost the job, but at least it afforded me the ability to buy a home. And so I bought my home. I was not working as a nurse, but I had my full-time job. And about 3 years, I was approaching 50. So I don't know, 2000, whatever year it was, I was approaching 50, and I was having a lot of health challenges. My diseases were not fully managed. I was having a lot of health challenges. I was not feeling good about myself. And I decided, if I'm going to feel this horrible, I want to look really good for my 50th birthday. And so I started a fitness program with my daughter. And probably 8 months into it, my diseases went into remission. And my diseases went into remission. But prior to that, I was hit head on by a drunk driver and suffered a concussion. And it's been a living hell. If I can put it lightly, it's been a living hell because I'm hoping that I don't get emotional, but the doctors basically said, you've got a concussion. I was walking into walls. I was dizzy. I was painful headaches. I couldn't do anything. And they said, you know what? It's just your age. It's just going to take a while. Give it a year. Like they did nothing, zero, nothing for me, and said, just give it a year and you should be fine. Well, a year later, I'm still walking into walls at work. I'm off balance, having issues. And fortunately, I came across a Facebook support group and found some people that suggested some things. I got a second opinion, and I finally learned that I had gotten mismanaged care, because the very first thing that I should have done is rest. I should have been off work, and I went back to work once I was off painkillers. So my brain never got a chance to rest. And with my age, and it actually was my second concussion, because when I was in nursing school, I was in a boating accident where they thought I was going to be paralyzed, but it didn't turn out to be. So it was my second concussion, and so my recovery was going to be longer. But I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? In any event, I'm now on the road to just trying to advocate for myself, because the doctors basically are saying you're not coping with your autoimmune diseases, which are in remission or a remissive state for 5 years. They're saying that I'm not coping with that and that I just need psychiatric treatment. And it's mentally been pretty much of a nightmare. But I'm gonna power through it.
How old are you?
56.
I know I'm not supposed to ask, but when you started talking 50, I didn't think you were 50. So
56, and I'm going to power through it. I mean, I know that I'll get through it, but it feels like it's been one curveball one curveball after another.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been associated with Ray and Rank Makers?
I actually was introduced to Ray when in my prior company. I actually earned like a training. Several people earned a training for something, and so that's when I was first exposed to Ray. And I was addicted. I don't know how else to say it. I was addicted to his genuine care for people. Like, you could see the care. I loved that he was for the underdog. He was straightforward, no fluff. And so when Rank Makers opened, I joined. Like, it wasn't even a thought in the world. I joined, and I've been obsessed. Let me just say, my day didn't start unless I did my Rank Maker daily.
Wow. So you've been actually a part of Rank Maker since the beginning?
Mm-hmm. I think a month after it opened.
Okay, cool. So, that's a long time of being in Rank Makers and hanging out with Ray and learning this system of how he goes about doing business. When the show came out, the first one, did you apply for the first show?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay. So
I don't know why.
You didn't get accepted.
Right.
So what made you apply again?
Because I'll be honest, what made me decide to do it the second time was because I'd seen the first show, and it scared. I mean, I was terrified for everybody that was on it. And because I was so afraid, I knew I had to do it. And I just knew that I knew that it was a win either way. Whether I won or whether I didn't win, I knew that the experience was going to be life-changing and a win, because I would have overcome the fear of doing it. And I actually auditioned about 4 days after he announced it, because there was no deadline date at the time, and I was afraid I'd miss it, and I didn't want to miss out on it. And so, yeah, it was an easy decision to make, even though I was terrified. And there was a part of me that was like, well, hopefully they don't pick you, and then you tried your best,
Right. So you were on day one, true day one. What were your thoughts when you were looking around the room? And did you know anybody else in the room?
I did not know anybody other than, seeing them in the Rank Maker community. So having seen people in the Rank Maker community, I've kind of always been a kind of a quiet person in the community, because I'm very introverted. And so when I got to the room, what I remembered from people were that people seemed very extroverted and outgoing. So I was a lot intimidated. I was a lot intimidated when I first got there because everybody's super outgoing. I was having a lot of major cognitive challenges at the time. And I actually, going backwards just a little bit, after my car accident, I developed hemifacial spasms. And so my left side of my face would, like my eye would close, everything would do crazy stuff. And so I couldn't get an appointment to get the treatment before the show, and I was freaking out. I was finally able to get it like the day before I traveled, I was able to get the treatment. And so I was worried about how that was going to react. So I had a lot of self-confidence issues when I got there, just because of what I was going through. Yeah, so that's kind of was my first impression, just feeling intimidated, but at the same time super excited and also proud of myself for doing it, because I don't travel well, and I traveled from California to Florida by myself with anxiety and all those other things going on, so.
Wow, that's quite a bit. So as you looked around the room, you're intimidated, your introvertedness is coming out. Who did you think was the biggest challenge to you winning the show?
Let's see. Day one, I'm trying to think of who. I don't know if it was from day one or what. I think I always felt Kelly Ray Alight was a competitor. Yeah,
she's a beast.
Yeah, I really thought, just from what I'd seen from her in Rank Makers, I kind of thought she really had I just was thought she was my big competition, one of the big competitions.
Yeah. So let's change it up a little bit. What was your favorite moment on the show? Now, don't give away any major details, but as you look back at the show, what was your favorite moment?
I would say, I don't know that anything's particular. I think I just loved everybody's, probably just the way everybody worked together. Even though it was a competition, I just felt like everybody genuinely cared for everybody else, and that's probably my favorite part of it, is just everybody supporting everybody. Even though it's a competition, it just didn't feel like that.
Yeah, that was true. I mean, that was part of it. So we talked a little bit about this before we came onto the live. What was your most nerve-wracking experience, and why?
Okay, so I almost felt like, I don't know if you've seen the show Fear Factor, but I almost thought I was like on Fear Factor. But I think because the thing I was the most nervous about was the interview. And I will say, having seen season 1, I had seen the interview, and that was the thing. Like, the interviews were what was the most terrifying to me, just because of my cognitive issues. Like, sure. I didn't even know if I was going to make sense. Well, if I'm being perfectly honest, I did not know if I was going to make sense. And so I was terrified of what the interview might be like.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we finished filming in February, come out, and we get hit by the global pandemic. What do you think has changed most for you since the show filmed?
I would say 2 things. I would say action, and not just in my business, but personally. Like, I have become obsessed. I've become obsessed with becoming a person that plays to win in life. I would say that's probably, like, things are not going to stop me. I'm going to figure it out. And so I think I've become maybe a little over obsessed, but it is what it is.
No such thing.
Yeah.
So the trailer gets released about 2 weeks ago now. I mean, we go live with the first episode this week. What'd you think of the trailer? I
thought it brought back a lot of memories. I loved the trailer. I thought it was great. I thought it was great, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So, in our private Facebook group that we have as contestants, there's been a lot of nerves about the release of the show. How are you feeling?
like everyone else. I'm super nervous. I'm super nervous. Yeah, nervous but excited, and I guess it's kind of a mixed bag because I have a lot of faith and trust in the Higdon group and how they do things, and so I'm just you know what I mean? I guess I'm just nervous, but at the same time just trusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And, I've made mention of this on a couple of different interviews, which I know you didn't get a chance to see them, but it would almost be antithetical to what Ray is doing if they came out and just kind of blew the brakes off somebody and crushed them on the show.
Right.
Those two
Right.
are pretty tough. Like, don't get me wrong, they could definitely chew you up a little bit, but I really don't think that that's what's going to be the nature of the show. And it's just been funny to me to watch as people have expressed the jitters with the show coming out and forgetting what was actually said and what actually happened. So,
right.
Yeah. So episode gets released this Thursday. What are you doing for it?
I'm going to be watching it, and I'm not sure who I'm going to be watching it with yet. Like, there's a part of me that's like, I kind of want to like watch it on my own before I like give people all the info. And I actually shared the trailer on my page and then deleted it because I'm like, oh no, I'm not sure yet. Let me see. Hold on, because I don't know what's going to air. I don't know what's going to air on what day. So
I'm going to challenge you to put that trailer back up on your page and leave it there.
I will do it. I will do it.
I think, your story is so compelling. You've overcome so much. What's the worst that show could do?
Exactly.
It is not going to be a DUI guy hitting you.
Right.
It's not going to be a relapse of lupus.
Right.
I mean, it's a TV show at the end of the day.
Right.
And, your story is so powerful and so many people go through so many challenges. And I've just watched you. I didn't really get to meet you on the show, but I've watched on Facebook and I knew that there were some medical issues. I didn't know the full scope of your issues, but to see you going live and to see you attacking it and to see you continuing to engage is inspirational.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I think that you should put that up there. And I don't think that they would ever do anything to malign anybody. But I don't think it matters what that show does for you because you've overcome so much already. And for you to be able to, even with everything going on, and you went, I did a reality show. Did you?
Right.
I don't think you've got anything to be ashamed of.
It's interesting because I will say that since the show also, because I'm super hard on myself, and a lot of times people that I don't know that I'm getting to know more people because I've been a lot more vulnerable. And when we start talking about things that I've been through in my life, sometimes I forget everything that I've been through. Sometimes you forget it all. I mean, I was like locked up in hiding from my ex-husband trying to kill me. So, but those are things you push under the rug. You forget about those things. And it's like, if I can get through those things, I'm going to get through these things, Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just a change of perspective, I guess.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think your story is inspirational. I can't wait to see how it all plays out for you and what happens for you because of your position on the show and everything that's happened. So I think you should strut a little bit. Don't hide.
All right. I'm going to be strutting my stuff.
Like I said, I didn't even know you were 50. I thought you were, maybe early 40s. So you're doing good.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
You started talking about 50, and I was like, I didn't think you were 50. So,
yeah, I got a 12-year-old grandson.
Dang, I don't have any grandbabies yet. None yet.
It's great, It's grandkids are amazing.
Excellent. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on today, and I appreciate your vulnerability. For you to be vulnerable like this and to come on and share your struggles can take quite a bit. And I know that was a struggle for you. And I just hope that somebody out there connects with your story and that they can look at you as an inspiration of why they can overcome as well. Because if you can do it, anybody can do it. So I'm proud.
Anybody can do it.
So
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's been great, and looking forward to the show.
Yeah, just hang on for a couple more seconds here while I end this, and we'll talk a little bit.
All righty.